Miss Pierce killed her son, 9 years old, October 2024, Detroit, Michigan. Domestic violence is always wrong. Just don't do it.
I have stood at this podium many, many times and talked about how horrific, tragic, and shocking certain cases are. Each time thinking there are some future alleged facts that could be worse than what I'm talking about at the time. Knowing all the while, though, that there's always a worse set of facts on the horizon. Well, that day has come again. So I want to talk about a case of a young boy named Zamar King III. The alleged facts in this case are that we are announcing today. On January 6th of 2025, the Detroit Police Department was notified and summoned to a house on Whittingham in Detroit. They had been contacted by the landlord that owned that house. When he went to that house, the landlord contacted him when he went to that house to prepare it for a new tenant. That he called the police because he found a shallow grave in the backyard of the home on Whittingham. Upon arrival, the police were shown that grave where a human foot was sticking out of the ground. The foot was believed to be belonged to a small child. After an extensive investigation by quite a few agencies, and the chief will talk about that in a minute, the buried body was discovered to be 9-year-old Zamar King III. That the mother of young Zamar was 41-year-old Brandee Pierce. It's alleged that she killed him, and that the cause of death found by the medical examiner was smothering and neck compression. So I want to just further go ahead and tell you what other facts about this case. It's alleged that she purchased a shovel. She bound him by tying his hands and feet together and dug a hole in the background of the house on Whittingham, where she had been living for a short time. She then put him in this hole and covered him with dirt. That after killing her son, she and her other son, who was 3 years old, moved to Georgia, Cobb County to be exact. It was determined that this, in fact, happened sometime in October of 2024. That Zamar's mother, Brandee Pierce, is currently in Cobb County, Georgia, and we will be requesting her to be extradited back to Michigan. We are charging Brandee Catrice Pierce today with 1 count of murder in the first degree premeditation, which carries a life without parole sentence, mandatory. Count 2 is homicide felony murder. Again, the mandatory penalty is life in prison without the possibility of parole. Our 3rd count is child abuse in the first degree, life or any term of years in prison. The first degree child abuse is the felony to make out the felony murder we are alleging. Count 4 is tampering with evidence, criminal case punishable by more than 10 years in prison. And the 5th one is interfering with, concealing and interfering with the death of an individual, 5 years, of course, that being 9-year-old Zamar King. As always, this defendant is presumed innocent unless or until proven guilty. I should tell you that Judge Aaliyah Sabri of the 36th District Court authorized these charges yesterday. And since we will be requesting extradition, we will notify you all when in fact she is back in the state of Michigan. So of course there is no next day for court. Again, let me just repeat, these charges and allegations are quite serious. They're deadly, they're shocking, every platitude that you can think of, but again, Ms. Pierce is still presumed to be innocent unless or until proven guilty. So I'm going to have the chief say a couple words to you, and then we'll answer some questions for you if you can.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. As Madam Prosecutor said, this case is rather shocking. In my 27-year career, I don't remember seeing anything like this, but I just want to thank, of course, Madam Prosecutor. I want to thank our law enforcement partners and everyone who helped out with this. The FBI was instrumental. Michigan State Police was instrumental in helping out as well, along with Cobb County and DeKalb County in the state of Georgia, their district attorney's office. And I just really want to express how proud I am of the hardworking men and women of the Detroit Police Department who helped bring this case to where it is today with these charges. I want to thank, of course, of our Major Crimes Division, the Commander Rebecca McKay, Captain Marcus Thurkill, Sergeant Ashley Peterson, Detective Kelly Lucy, who is here with us, Detective Lisa Johnson, and then the officer who is leading the case, Officer Isaac Yamas, and the members of the Western Squad. The Detroit Police Department works relentlessly on behalf of victims, and we are confident that there will be accountability for this. And as Madam Prosecutor said, of course, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you much.
It seems to all of us who do this work on a daily basis, there's been just a large number of tragic cases that have happened to our children, worse than we have seen. So it's our hope that we don't continue to see these, but I know that's probably false hope that I'm having. Before we go any further, I want to introduce Tina Ripley, who has worked together on this case very hard. She will be trying this case. Louisa Papoulis is to her right and your left. She is the Deputy Chief of the Special Victims Unit. Kelly Gleason is to my immediate left, and she is the Chief of the Special Victims Unit. And again, if the Chief would introduce his people that are standing here, that would be helpful.
Sergeant, I'm sorry, Detective Lisa Johnson is right here. Also, officer in charge of the case, Isaac Yamas. Kelly Lucy, detective. Ashley Peterson, Marcus Thurkill. Marcus is in the back there as well. And then Captain Rebecca McKay.
Okay. We'll take some short questions at this point, if you have any.
Not that you guys needed it to get a charging decision, but any indication as to why, a possible motive in this case?
You know, I don't talk about motives at the time. Any further evidence and charging decision will come out when we go to court. So, again, we can't comment on that at this time.
Has there been any communication with Samar's mother at all from you guys?
We did speak with his father yesterday, actually this morning, actually. So yes, we have had contact with the family, and the Detroit Police Department has had contact with the family as well.
So forgive me, I must be confused because I are not listening close enough, so I apologize. But the relationship of the suspect to the child?
Mother,
Okay.
yes. 41-year-old Brandee Pierce was his mother.
Okay.
And did Samar's father live in Michigan?
He lives in this area, yes.
And was he aware of his child's death?
Again, we talked to him. I don't think he was aware until recently, but again, we did speak with him this morning.
Thank you.
And we'll be speaking with him, of course, further as time goes on.
And those are the. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, please, you got it.
Those are her two kids, Zamar and the 3-year-old.
Yes.
Okay.
Madam Prosecutor, where's the 3-year-old right now? What's his status? What's his condition?
Again, he's with his mother in Georgia right now. And he was, and now he's in foster care here, I believe.
Can you
Foster
provide,
care locally?
In Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Georgia.
Yep.
Are you able to provide any further information on the timeline of, you mentioned October, and then what,
That'll come out in court.
but in regard to how she ends up in Georgia with the other child or with
All I can
family,
tell
or-
you, all I can tell you at this point in time is she left shortly after she buried the body in the backyard and went to the state of Georgia.
So the landlord call to DPD was on January 6th, correct?
The landlord call was on January 6th. The police were notified. They immediately went out to the house on Whittingham. They were shown that grave by the owner of that particular property. They saw the foot sticking out of the ground, and it went from there. The chief notified me immediately upon that discovery.
She had rented that home?
I assume she rented it. I don't know.
Madam Prosecutor, just got this from a coworker, some indication that,
Who's talking? I can't see you.
Randy.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can you speak to this at all? I'll just read this verbatim. A source indicated yesterday that the mother claims they were horsing around and playing some sort of choking game.
I'm not going to comment on the evidence in the case.
Also, was this case file sent over to you guys more than once at all? And if so, what elements were needed to get to a charging decision?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. Yeah. The police contact us when they have information. We talk often back and forth. And then once we get a completed investigation, we make a charging decision. Anybody else?
Do you know how long the mom had been living at that rental house?
For a short period of time. It's a very short period of time. Thank you, everybody. Oh, do you have something else?
Well, I think I know the answer to your question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. In regard to my question is, do you, potentially this was accidental, somebody panics and then leaves the state, intentional? Are you able to offer anything in regard to intent or non-intent?
I am not going to do that. Yeah. You'll find out in court.
Thank you.